This video I'm going to be giving my opinions on Warzone 2, and this video is going to be based around the fact that I really enjoyed Warzone 1 so much, especially after all the new additions and fixes that they took place over the 3 years of its life cycle. Now Warzone 2, this is an interesting one. Now we're only going to be talking about the Battle Royale experience at the moment. DMZ separate, we'll make another video on that. But this game is almost like they didn't even know what they wanted to make this. They tried to make it more like a Battle Royale, but it still doesn't feel that much like a Battle Royale than it does Warzone 1, and Warzone 1 did so many good things, let's be perfectly honest. Now going over the pros first of all, and the big one is of course the map. The map plays really well. I just think that is a little bit too big and we do need a larger player count, especially on game modes like solos where people don't tend to run around a lot, and that's probably my main game mode to be honest, I don't have a full stacked squad. So if you do want to play a bit aggressively, this is just not going to work out at all. Already it's a very slow paced game, and then people don't want to move because it's solos as well. So having a bit more player count I think might actually help that. And also fill in the gaps where you're kind of running around for long periods of time. The vehicles in this game all kind of have some kind of identity, which I do enjoy, but they just don't really handle very well. Lighting in this game is absolutely fantastic. It's very rarely where I don't see enemies, and it's usually down to my own fault, or just because some of the camos do blend in with the background, but that is not really down to the whole world lighting. I think they've got the lighting down in this game almost perfectly. Audio as well I think is really good in this game. I think some people might not like the audio, but I think that's for completely different reasons to the actual audio itself. I think knowing where players are, especially if you're in the same building, is actually amazing, and I'm actually glad they have that in the game. Quickly touching on the guns as well, every gun does feel relatively unique in this game. The recoil on the guns is actually present, so not every gun's an absolute laser beam. I do want to touch on a specific category of guns later on in this video in the cons section, but for the most part, every gun does feel and sound really good. New contracts feel pretty decent to be honest. There are some that are similar to Warzone 1 and there's some that are actually a little bit different. That's quite refreshing. The way they've actually done strongholds, as much as I hate AI in a Battle Royale or any slightly competitive game, I do feel like they actually integrated it relatively decent, so you can avoid them if you really want to. And then also proximity chat is obviously a huge plus. Now we're moving on into the cons for this game, and I'm going to try and get through these relatively quickly because it is quite a few, so strap in for this one. Now my biggest one is that finesse is dead in this game. There's no way to actually out-finesse opponents, and basically 1v4ing could be possible inside Warzone 1 if you're a really good player, but doing it in this game is ridiculously hard, and it should not be that hard to 1v4, especially how quick the TTK is in this game as well, which I'll go on to talk to in just a minute. But basically running and plating is not in this game, which it definitely should be, because there's not even a skill gap or a mechanical thing. It's just something that should be in the game from standard. It's just common sense at this point, so that needs to be added in at some point, hopefully soon. Now sliding is absolutely pointless. Dolphin diving is absolutely pointless. Pretty much most movement mechanics other than jumping around a corner is pretty much pointless in this game, which is kind of unfortunate because again that kind of adds to the finesse. I'm not saying we should have slide cancelling in the game, I'm just saying that sliding should have a purpose so you can actually slide through a doorway. And this takes me back to the audio in this game. So if you think audio is a problem, the only reason why you'd think that is because there's not many movement mechanics that when someone is listening to your audio, they know exactly how you're going to be coming around that corner, because there's only one way you can do it, and that is basically slow aiming around the corner. You can't slide because sliding's dead. You can maybe jump around the corner, but it depends on the situation. So 90% of the time you're going to be slow aiming around that corner, so if they're pre-aiming anyway, you're dead. Now the next one I personally do not have a problem with, but I do think that if people are sniping in the game, they want it to be enjoyable and satisfying. That is the main reasons people use snipers, to have that accuracy and the satisfaction of getting that one-shot kill. Now, if you don't already know, snipers in this game, if you're at the second damage drop-off, you're basically getting a 2-shot kill to the head with pretty much every single sniper in the game at the minute, which is completely insane to me. I don't know why they've done that. The way they should balance snipers, in my opinion, is with bullet drop and bullet velocity. Every aggressive sniper should have less bullet velocity and more bullet drop. So that means that you can still get a long range one-shot headshot kill. It's just a lot harder to do it. And that way people can actually learn their favorite weapon and account for the bullet drop and still get that one-shot headshot kill and that satisfaction of getting the kill in the first place. Obviously, balancing the heavier snipers is a lot more straightforward. You get the better bullet velocity, you get the better damage range, you get all that good stuff, but you do have a slower aim down sight time and slower movement speeds, and that is pretty straightforward. The next thing I want to talk about is looting. Now, I do like the fact that you can carry the loot that you want, so obviously you can carry 3 guns in some cases, which is pretty cool in my opinion. People could carry 3 self-reses, which I think is absolutely broken, and that should definitely be nerfed. But navigating the backpack system is just so strange. It should just be a list format. If you've picked up 12 armor plates, it should just show that you've got 12 armor plates, not like 3 stacks of 3 and all this random stuff. We just want to see how many armor plates do we actually have. And if we are going to drop some to our teammates, we could drop them the way we did inside Warzone 1. Now, when it comes to the armor satchel that allows you to equip 3 armor plates, first of all, I think you should be able to have 3 armor plates straight away in the game, just like Warzone 1, because the TTK in this game is just far too quick, which is another thing I want to discuss just after this topic. But it's unlikely they're going to change that, so what I would recommend is that if you run across a 3 armor satchel, or whatever you want to call it, and you only have the standard one equipped, then as soon as you run across it, it should automatically equip it for you. You shouldn't need to go into your backpack and then equip it. It's such a really weird thing where it's already better than the one you have equipped, and you're going to take it for yourself. Now, in some cases, some people might want to give it to their teammate, but if you do stumble across it, you could ping it for your teammate, they can come and collect it themselves. And let's say you have already a 3 armor plate satchel, or whatever you want to call them, and you find another one for your teammate. At that point, you can then add it to your inventory and keep it for later on, but it should automatically give you the best thing if that is what is on the ground at the time. And the same exact thing goes for the medium and large backpacks. You're obviously going to want to equip it yourself first, and then worry about your teammates after. The next thing is TTK in this game. Now, TTK just feels so quick in this game, and I don't know why they went back to 250 HP after having Warzone 1 at 300 HP and everyone was enjoying it. It just seems like a step backwards for no apparent reason. And in this game, the TTK feels even quicker than when Warzone 1 was at 250 HP, and that's probably because everyone's pretty much holding angles 90% of the time, so you're pretty much going to get pre-aimed and pre-fired like every single gunfight, so that is why it does feel a lot worse in my opinion. But just in general, they need to increase the health back to 300 HP. The pinging mechanic is absolutely awful compared to Warzone 1. Now, Warzone 1 had its fair share of problems with the ping mechanic, let's be perfectly honest, but in this game it's absolutely terrible. First of all, every player doesn't have their own coloured ping, so it doesn't stand out on the minimap. Plus, it kind of disappears into the ground or into the abyss somewhere, even if you do ping something, so that is just something that's not going to be handy at all. If you ping a buy station or a contract or something like that for your team, again, it doesn't really get highlighted very well in this game, and it needs to be very obvious what it is you're looking to do, especially if you don't have a mic or proximity chat or all these other things and you're playing with randoms, then it's going to be extremely difficult to communicate. Not only that, even if you do have a fully stacked team, sometimes some players might ping something and that white ping just doesn't cut it in this game. You can barely see it even when it is working correctly. Given the scale of this map, I really feel like they should have kept the redeploy balloons. It would have been absolutely perfect for Al Mazrah in my opinion, especially with the 3 zones splitting up at the end. You could fly into one of the different zones. It gives a good dimension of more aggressive play. Now thinking about it and saying it out loud, they've basically nerfed aggressive play into the ground, so that's probably why they removed it. But I think it would work absolutely perfectly in this map, and I think it was a welcome addition on Caldera as well as Rebirth Island. And I think a lot of people would like to see it in this as well. The next thing I want to discuss is cash in this game. It's very hard to come by, and to be perfectly honest, if you're not doing contracts or you've not got a stack of 4 with you, it's kind of hard to loot cash in this game. It's just not a lot of it lying about the ground. I think this is a very easy fix. They just need to put more cash in the game, and that way people can get their guns a little bit quicker. Now, this is where I find it really funny that they decided that they're catering to a more casual audience in this game by adding in AI bots, and basically also removing things like slide cancelling and bunny hopping, which I'm okay with, to be perfectly honest with you. But they also decided to then not give anyone a loadout at the same time until like near the end game, which does not make any sense whatsoever. The casual player is going to struggle to get their weapons at the start of the game as quickly as possible. Even if there is strongholds in the game, they're going to be contested by other really good players, A lot of the casual players are going to die before they even get their hands on one of their loadout weapons in this game, especially also down to the fact that the cash situation is really bad as well. So even buying one from the buy station is going to be pretty difficult if you cannot find the cash lying around. Also, regaining is absolutely ridiculous because you won't be able to get a loadout weapon whatsoever unless you actually kill an enemy that's going to have a fully stacked weapon. So it's going to be really hard to get a regain without having some kind of loadout gun. So I do think they need to add in another loadout drop throughout the match and maybe spread them out a little bit. So there's one near the end game and one at the start of the game, similar to we had in Warzone 1. That was something that didn't really need changed in my opinion. Also, just a quick thing, there is a bug in the game where if someone does collect a loadout that has been dropped, it will actually disappear off the minimap. So make sure you ping the loadout that you're actually traveling to when the ping system does work, that is. So when you do get to that destination, there is actually still loadouts lying there and you can still pick them up. It's just that the actual box or the logo will disappear off the minimap. Also, tracking your stats should be in this game by now. I don't really know why it's not. It's added into multiplayer, but they never added it into Warzone, which it really should launch with, so you can see your kill death ratio, your wins, all that good stuff, because it is important to players to see this kind of thing. And lastly, I want to touch on the buy stations as well. The way the buy stations work in this game is just strange. First of all, there's limited equipment at the buy stations. If you are trying to buy something, you can only buy so much of one item, which if it's a self-revive, I'm okay with, but for certain items, I don't really see why that's a problem. The overall menu for the buy stations has to be quicker. You do not want to be sitting at a buy station for way too long trying to purchase something. It needs to be faster. On top of that, they need to be standardized. Being able to only buy a self-revive at certain buy stations within a game is just absolutely stupid. It does not make any sense, especially if a player's trying to regain and the only buy station is the one that's in the end zone, and they managed to make it, they killed a few players, and then all of a sudden they're not able to buy a self-revive just because it's not available at that buy station. It's such a dumb mechanic, in my opinion. Everything should be available at every single buy station. So there we have it. That is my opinion on Warzone 2.0. For the most part, I can't really say I'm enjoying this game. It's okay, but it could be a lot better. I want to know what you have to say about this game down in the comments below. What would you actually change? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.